And Biden may have competition. A recent poll has good news for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., even as the candidate may be considering running as an independent. We spoke with an Epoch Times reporter to dive into his campaign. Jeff Louderback, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me again.
It seems right now rumors are swirling that RFK Jr. might run as an independent, separating himself from the Democratic Party. That's after some contention with the Democratic National Committee. From what you've seen from his campaign, what has he been saying about all of this?
Well, it's interesting because I've been covering the campaign since, I believe, May. And for several months, he would say, when asked that question, if he would run as a third party or an independent, that he's a Democrat. He wants to restore the party to what it was when his uncle JFK and his father RFK were president and senator, respectively. And he would say that he wants to get the nomination. He wants to restore the party back to what it was. But in the last month, like in New Hampshire recently, he was talking about how that if the DNC makes it difficult for him, that he has to consider all his options.
And now a Rasmussen poll from just 2 days ago shows that 33% of Democrats say they would vote for RFK if he was a third party. From what you've seen on the ground, how would him running as an independent impact the election cycle?
Well, what I find interesting is that every town hall or meet and greet, every tour that I go to, there's a wide mix of people. There's people who voted for President Biden in 2020. There's people who supported President Trump in 2016 and 2020. He has a wide spectrum of political supporters. I think from what they said they'll support him regardless of whether he's a Democrat or an independent. I think a lot of Republicans, if he decided to run as a Republican, I think he would do well in that primary. It's just he talks about how it's a movement. That's what he's trying to create. From what I've seen about being heavily involved in covering it, it just seems like that's accurate. There's a lot of enthusiasm regardless of where he goes.
And what is the significance or impact that you see these celebrities seeming to back him have, especially due to some of RFK Jr.'s more controversial stances, say, on vaccines?
Well, that seems to be contrary, doesn't it? It seems like Hollywood is all in on COVID vaccines and COVID mandates. It just seems that way. California as a whole. I don't know. I can't really say whether that will help or hurt, but I think that just goes to show he has a wide spectrum of support that you otherwise wouldn't think. Like obviously, President Trump has strong support by his base, but that's a base that is pretty much conservative. RFK Jr.'s support seems to go all ways, and that's you could throw in the Hollywood crowd. That's just interesting that he has that support.
Quite fascinating indeed. Well, Jeff Louderback, thank you so much for your time.